Today, we dive deep into the fascinating story of the Philippine 1 Piso 1977 coin. This piece of currency may look simple at first glance, but it carries with it layers of history, national identity, and even stories of economic shifts that shaped the Philippines in the late 20th century. Sit tight as we unfold its tale, because by the end, you'll see how this coin is more than just metal. It's a symbol of resilience and pride. The 1 Piso coin of 1977 belongs to the Ang Bagong Lipunan series, a coinage line introduced under President Ferdinand Marcos. This series was launched after the declaration of martial law in 1972, and the name itself, Ang Bagong Lipunan, meaning the new society, was meant to signify the government's vision of a disciplined, reformed nation. Every coin from this era is not just money but also propaganda, carrying a strong political message. On the obverse of the 1 Piso 1977, we see the portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. His calm yet determined gaze has long been a reminder of the country's struggle for independence and intellectual awakening. Choosing Rizal was a deliberate act, linking the new society to the ideals of sacrifice, reform, and progress. The reverse of the coin shows the national seal of the Philippines, flanked by the words Republica ng Pilipinas and the year of minting, 1977. Below it the words Ang Bagong Lipunan stand, proudly embedding the ideology of the time into everyday life. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. During the 1970s, it wasn't just money, it was a piece of the government's narrative. The coin was struck in nickel brass, giving it a warm golden hue, measuring 27 millimeters in diameter. It had a weight of around 7 grams. This gave it both durability and a distinct presence in one's pocket. Its golden shine often led people to associate it with higher value, even though it was just 1 Piso. In 1977, the Philippines was undergoing great economic and political challenges. Inflation was rising, imports were costly, and the government heavily promoted nationalism. Coins like the 1 Piso became tools for building a sense of national unity. Carrying Rizal's image every day reminded Filipinos of their heritage and the vision of freedom that leaders often invoked. The Bagong Lipunan coinage was not only about money but also about symbolism. By minting new designs, the government was attempting to mark a new era. The 1 Piso of 1977 is an excellent example of this attempt, as it blends heroism, state authority, and economic function. For collectors, the 1 Piso 1977 is a gem. It represents a specific time when coins were more than currency. They were instruments of storytelling. The simple yet bold design makes it attractive to numismatists worldwide. The political backdrop of this coin is crucial. By 1977, martial law had been in place for 5 years. The country was under tight control, and propaganda was woven into many aspects of life. Coins were one of the most visible and constant mediums to remind people of the new society vision. Yet, beyond the politics, this coin became part of everyday Filipino life. From buying food in markets, paying jeepney fares, or contributing to church collections, the 1 Piso 1977 circulated through millions of hands. Each coin carries traces of history, stories of ordinary people surviving, working, and dreaming. The design choice of José Rizal was particularly fitting. Rizal's advocacy for education, reform, and national identity resonated deeply in the Filipino consciousness. His image was more than decoration, it was a reminder of sacrifice and enlightenment. The nickel brass alloy used in this coin was not accidental either. It was chosen for its durability and cost-effectiveness. In a time of economic uncertainty, the government needed a coin that would last, and the 1 Piso 1977 fulfilled this requirement. From a numismatic perspective, this coin is valuable not just for its metal, but for its story. Collectors prize it because it reflects both political history and cultural pride. Well-preserved examples of the 1977 1 Piso often attract attention in auctions and online platforms. In fact, the coin market has shown that versions of the 1977 1 Piso in uncirculated or mint condition are in high demand. Collectors on eBay, Etsy, and other auction platforms often seek these coins as part of their Philippine coin series. For everyday Filipinos, however, the coin is nostalgic. Many remember using it during their childhood or seeing their parents and grandparents keep it in jars or purses. Nostalgia is a powerful factor that makes coins like this even more valuable emotionally. The 1977 1 Piso also reflects how coins carry identity. Every nation stamps its heroes, seals, and slogans onto coins, and in doing so, they create a small canvas of history. This coin is a perfect example of how everyday currency becomes a record of time. The Bagong Lipunan series was gradually phased out in the early 1980s, replaced by new coinage designs. However, the 1977 issue remains one of the more collected dates because of its association with a politically charged era. Interestingly, some collectors view this coin as controversial. On one hand, it celebrates Rizal and national pride. On the other, it is a product of martial law propaganda. This dual identity makes it a fascinating piece of history. Today, the one Piso 1977 can be found in coin shops, online listings, and private collections. Prices vary depending on condition, but its historical value always outweighs its monetary worth. Coins like this remind us that history doesn't always live in museums. Sometimes, it lives in the palm of our hands, in the form of coins that once jingled in the pockets of millions. The Philippines of 1977 may feel distant, but coins like the 1 Piso bring it closer. They serve as time capsules, carrying memories of political slogans. History today, we will dive into the fascinating history of the Philippine 25 Sentimo 2013 coin. Though small in size and value, this coin carries with it a long story tied to the Philippines' cultural identity, economy, and evolving numismatic heritage. By the end of this video, you'll realize why even a simple coin like this deserves deep respect and curiosity. So, let's explore the incredible journey of the 25 Sentimo 2013. The 25 Sentimo coin has been part of Philippine coinage since the early days of the Republic, but the 2013 issue belongs to the new Generation Currency NGC series, which the Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas BSP introduced to modernize the country's coinage. This coin is often overlooked because of its small denomination, yet it carries a wealth of history and symbolism worth discussing. The 2013 series was launched to address the challenges of counterfeit coins, provide updated security features, and ensure that Filipino currency reflected the nation's modern aspirations. Unlike its predecessors, the 25 Sentimo 2013 coin was designed with simplicity and uniformity in mind, matching the rest of the new generation coins. Made from nickel-plated steel, the coin is lightweight but durable. The change in composition was strategic, aiming to reduce production costs while ensuring long-lasting circulation. Earlier issues of 25 Sentimo coins were often made of copper or brass, but the shift to nickel-plated steel showed the government's intent to adapt to global coinage standards. On its obverse, the coin features the denomination 25 Sentimo and the year of minting, along with the inscription Republica ng Pilipinas. This minimalistic approach was meant to create consistency across the coin family, making it easier for citizens to recognize and use them. The reverse of the coin bears the image of the stylized Philippine flag's sun with its rays, a powerful emblem of freedom and independence. This choice of design reflects national pride and ties the coin to the broader theme of unity and resilience of the Filipino people. What makes the 25 Sentimo 2013 interesting is not just its face value but the fact that it represents a transitional phase in Philippine currency. It symbolizes the nation's movement into a new era of financial systems, technological improvements, and global recognition of its currency. During 2013, the Philippines was undergoing rapid economic growth, and the modernization of coins and banknotes was part of that progress. The 25 Sentimo coin circulated widely in markets, small shops, jeepneys, and sari-sari stores, becoming a common companion in the daily lives of Filipinos. The Philippine 1 Piso coin from the year 2010, a piece that not only carries the face value of the national currency but also holds the echoes of the country's past, its struggles, its triumphs, and its continuing evolution in the modern world. The 1 Piso 2010 coin belongs to the new Generation Currency coin series, a pivotal series that symbolizes modernization while staying deeply rooted in the Philippines' history and identity. The 2010 1 Piso coin features the iconic portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, whose life and writings inspired the movement for independence during Spanish rule. The decision to keep Rizal on the 1 Piso denomination demonstrates the coin's role as a circulating reminder of patriotism, education, and the pursuit of freedom. It was designed to instill national pride in every Filipino who used it in daily transactions, linking everyday life to the country's historical narrative. When the 1 Piso coin was released in 2010, the Philippines was undergoing numerous changes: economic, political, and cultural. This coin was a part of the broader monetary reforms by the Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas BSP aimed at strengthening the economy and modernizing the country's currency system. Unlike earlier issues, the 2010 Piso emphasized durability, resistance to counterfeiting, and ease of recognition for the public. The material used in the 2010 1 Piso coin was nickel-plated steel, a practical choice that provided strength, longevity, and a silvery appearance that distinguished it from lower denominations like the Sentimo series. This decision also reflected the government's concern for cost efficiency in minting coins that would endure heavy daily use. On the obverse side, José Rizal's portrait is prominently displayed, accompanied by the words Republica NG Pilipinas and the year of minting, 2010. The reverse side carries the denomination 1 Piso along with the official seal of the Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas. These design choices combine both national identity and institutional authority, symbolizing a balance between heritage and governance. The introduction of the 2010 Piso also aligned with the Philippines' continued participation in global trade and tourism. Coins like this, although often overlooked, become silent ambassadors of the country's culture to foreigners who encounter them. They serve not only as mediums of exchange but also as carriers of national stories, traditions, and values. One fascinating aspect of the 2010 1 Piso coin is its place within the transition of Philippine coinage. Prior to its release, coins bore different stylings, but this series began a shift toward more modern and uniform designs. Collectors today see the 2010 Piso as an important marker of that transition, making it more than just a coin but also a collectible that tells the story of change. The introduction of the 2010 Piso also aligned with the Philippines' continued participation in global trade and tourism. Coins like this, although often overlooked, become silent ambassadors of the country's culture to foreigners who encounter them. They serve not only as mediums of exchange but also as carriers of national stories, traditions, and values. One fascinating aspect of the 2010 1 Piso coin is its place within the transition of Philippine coinage. Prior to its release, coins bore different stylings, but this series began a shift toward more modern and uniform designs. Collectors today see the 2010 Piso as an important marker of that transition, making it more than just a coin but also a collectible that tells the story of change. The coin also highlights the respect and reverence the Philippines holds for José Rizal. Placing him on the 1 Piso coin ensures that millions of Filipinos are reminded of his ideals each day. Rizal's legacy, encapsulated in this small piece of metal, serves as a constant nudge toward unity, courage, and sacrifice for the betterment of the nation. During this period, the Philippine economy was growing steadily and the BSP's decision to maintain strong, durable coinage mirrored the drive to strengthen the country's financial institutions. A robust monetary system required coins that could withstand circulation for years without deterioration, and the 2010 Piso was crafted precisely with this in mind. Interestingly, while most people used the 2010 Piso coin for daily transactions, coin collectors began recognizing its importance in numismatic circles. These coins were often valued for their role in the evolution of Philippine currency rather than for rarity. However, pristine uncirculated versions and error coins from the 2010 series have occasionally caught the attention of collectors, fetching higher than face value in auctions and online sales. The production quality of the 2010 Piso also reflected the BSP's effort to standardize coin sizes and appearances. This helped reduce confusion among the public and ensured that vending machines, counters, and banks could process coins. The coins whirled on the Philippine 50 Sentimo 1971, written in 30 paragraphs with detailed history, storytelling, and captivating effects. So your listeners stay hooked throughout. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Coins World. Today we're diving into one of the fascinating mid-20th century coins of the Philippines, the 1971 50 Sentimo coin. This coin is more than just a small piece of metal used for buying goods. It is a time capsule of history, culture, and national pride. Struck during an era of transition and development in the Philippines, the 50 Sentimo of 1971 belonged to the Filipino coin series, which started in the 1960s and was introduced as part of the country's coinage reform after independence from American colonial rule. This series was significant because it marked a true expression of Filipino identity, replacing the Old English series that had been used before. The obverse of the 1971 50 Sentimo features Francisco Baltasar, more famously known as Francisco Balagtas, the great Filipino poet and writer. His literary masterpiece Florondia at Laura has stood as one of the pillars of Philippine literature, symbolizing the strength of the national spirit. By placing him on the coin, the Philippines honored its own cultural icons. Instead of foreign figures, on the reverse side the coin carries the coat of arms of the Republic of the Philippines. This national emblem represents sovereignty, unity, and the spirit of independence that Filipinos fought hard to achieve. Its placement on the coin was more than decorative. It was symbolic of national pride during the post-independence period. The 1971 50 centimo coin was struck in nickel brass, giving it a golden appearance. Even though it was a minor denomination, this choice of metal reflected durability and also a visual richness, making even small value coins look important. During the early 1970s, the Philippines was undergoing major political and economic changes. President Ferdinand Marcos was in power, and just a year after this coin was minted, the country entered the era of martial law in 1972. This makes the 1971 50 centimo an artifact from the last years of a relatively open society before a long authoritarian period. The 50 centimo coin played a practical role in everyday life. At the time, it had actual purchasing power. Small street foods, jeepney rides, and little daily items could be bought with it. Unlike today, where 50 centimo has almost no purchasing value, back in 1971 it meant something tangible to ordinary Filipinos. Welcome back to my channel, The Coins World. Today we dive into the fascinating history of the Philippine 25 centimo coin from 2015, a small, yet meaningful piece of the country's currency system. Though it may seem like just a small denomination, this coin carries within it the story of an evolving nation, its economic reforms, and its identity as reflected in the symbols engraved upon it. What may look like just pocket change is in fact a capsule of history, heritage, and transformation. The 25 centimo coin of 2015 belongs to the new Generation Currency NGC coin series issued by the Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas. This series was introduced in 2011 to modernize Philippine coinage, replace older designs, and make coins more resistant to counterfeiting. The NGC coins were also designed with updated aesthetics, placing emphasis on national identity and historical figures, while maintaining practical usability in everyday transactions. On the obverse side of the 25 centimo 2015 coin, we see the portrait of Juan Luna, one of the greatest Filipino artists and revolutionaries. Luna was not only a celebrated painter, but also an active supporter of the movement for independence against Spanish rule. By placing him on this coin, the Philippines honored not only his artistic genius but also his role in inspiring patriotism among Filipinos. The reverse side of the coin features the logo of the Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas. The new BSP seal was updated to reflect modernity and progress. It signifies stability, integrity, and the guiding hand of the institution that safeguards the Philippine economy. The year mark, 2015, is inscribed beneath, marking its mintage. One striking feature of this 25 centimo coin is its material. It is made of nickel-plated steel, chosen for durability and resistance to corrosion. The metallic shine is different from the older brass-colored coins, which often wore down quickly and confused the public with similar-looking denominations. This change in composition was a deliberate effort to make coins more practical for long-term circulation. The size and color of the 25 centimo coin were also adjusted in the NGC series. At first glance, many Filipinos noticed that the coins were smaller and shinier than the previous BSP series coins. This redesign stirred curiosity, debates, and even complaints, but over time people adjusted to the new look, recognizing the modernization efforts of the central bank. Historically, the 25 centimo denomination has been part of Philippine coinage since the Spanish colonial era, though its design and metal composition have changed over centuries. During the American colonial period, for instance, 25 centavo coins were minted in silver, making them far more valuable. Over time, as economies shifted and inflation grew, the 25 centimo coin became a smaller base metal coin for everyday use rather than a silver treasure. 2015, the coin had little purchasing power in terms of daily goods, yet it remained important. That carries not only monetary but also cultural and symbolic value. At first glance, it may appear like a simple piece of copper nickel alloy, but when you dive deeper into its story, you uncover layers of history, economy, design, and national identity. This coin is more than change in the palm of your hand. It is a miniature time capsule of the Philippines during a significant era of transition. The 1968 10 centimo coin belongs to the English series, one of the longest-running and most widely circulated coinage series in Philippine history. Introduced after World War II, the English series carried inscriptions in English, reflecting the Philippines' historical ties with the United States. The year 1968 sits right in the middle of this period, making the coin a fascinating study of a nation caught between colonial influence and a drive toward independence in identity. The coin's obverse features the Philippine coat of arms, a proud emblem of sovereignty and strength. It shows the sun with its 8 rays, representing the first provinces that revolted against Spanish rule, and the 3 stars for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This was not a random design choice, it was a deliberate reminder of the unity and resilience of the Filipino people. Even in the smallest denominations of currency, on the reverse, we find the denomination inscribed, along with the year of minting 1968. The clarity and precision of the coin's engravings speak volumes about the craftsmanship and intent to highlight national pride. Though modest in size, its symbolism was immense, reminding every Filipino of their shared heritage every time they held it. The year 1968 itself was a period of change and challenges for the Philippines. Under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos, the country was navigating modernization while also facing political and economic turbulence. Coins like the 10 centimo became everyday companions of citizens, circulating through markets, transport fares, and daily transactions, silently narrating the story of ordinary lives during an extraordinary period. This coin was struck in copper-nickel, a practical choice meant to withstand daily circulation. Its durability reflects the resilience of the Filipino people who, much like their currency, endured wear and tear but remained strong through the decades. The 10 centimo might have had little purchasing power, but its role in everyday trade and economy was undeniable. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1968 10 centimo coin is its connection to the broader historical journey of Philippine coinage. After the English series, coins would gradually shift to the Filipino series, marking a stronger cultural identity by replacing English with the national language. Thus, this coin stands at a transitional stage, bridging colonial influence with the assertion of Filipino pride. Collectors today find the 196810 centimo to be a fascinating piece, not because of its metallic value but because of the story it tells. It is a reminder of the country's evolving identity, of its people's everyday struggles and triumphs, and of the artistry that goes into something as ordinary as coinage. The coin size may be small, but the historical impact it carries is massive. Every scratch, every worn edge tells us about the hands it passed through: farmers in the provinces, jeepney drivers in the city, children buying sweets, and families saving up in jars. It is a true witness of Filipino life in the late 1960s. Some versions of this coin remain in circulation among collectors, though in heavily worn condition. Pristine examples are rare, and those that still shine with their original mint luster are highly prized. The rarity factor increases when coins have errors, such as misstrikes, off-centering, or unusual metal quality. The symbolism of the coat of arms and the national elements is worth emphasizing again. For a young nation continually affirming its place on the global stage, embedding national pride in coins was a way of solidifying identity. The 10 centimo coin of 1968 is a tangible reminder of that effort. Economically, during 1968, the 10 centimo had small but notable purchasing power. It could buy candies, a portion of transportation fare, or a local newspaper. For families of modest means, every centimo counted, making this coin a critical part of daily survival and household budgeting. In global numismatic circles, Philippine coins from the English series attract significant attention because they highlight the Philippines' unique colonial and post-colonial history. Collectors from abroad often seek out coins like the 196810 centimo for their historical value. One could say this coin is an unsung hero of Philippine currency. Unlike the larger denominations, which often get celebrated, the small centimo coins carried just as much history. They traveled farther, touched more hands, and bore more stories of the common Filipino than their larger counterparts. Over time, the 10 centimo denomination would lose much of its purchasing power due to inflation, but its memory remains preserved in collections and historical accounts. The 1968 edition captures a very particular snapshot of a nation balancing tradition, modernity, and cultural identity. For coin enthusiasts, finding a well-preserved 196810 centimo is like holding a piece of living history. It connects you directly to the Philippines of the 1960s, a decade of change, modernization, and complexity. The aesthetic design of the coin is also worth admiration. Its modest yet precise engravings highlight the skill of the minting process at the time, reflecting attention to detail despite its low face value. Some families still hold onto these coins. Sentimo coin of 1972. Though it may seem like just a tiny coin, its story connects to the nation's culture, economy, and history in powerful ways. Let's explore this fascinating coin in depth. The 10 centimo coin of 1972 belongs to the second series of coins issued by the Central Bank of the Philippines after the country gained independence. It was part of the Ang Bagong Lipunan the New Society program, launched during the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos. This era emphasized nationalism, economic reform, and new symbols of progress. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Francisco Baltasar, also known as Francisco Balagtas, the great Filipino poet often called the Prince of Tagalog poets. His most famous work, Florandi at Laura, is a cornerstone of Philippine literature. By placing Balagtas on the 10 centimo, the government highlighted the importance of culture and identity. The reverse side of the coin carried the seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas, symbolizing monetary stability and authority. The inclusion of the central bank seal was meant to assure Filipinos of the credibility of their money during a time of political and economic transition. This coin was minted in copper-nickel clad steel, giving it durability and a silvery appearance. At just 10 centimos, its value was modest, but it served millions of Filipinos daily for small transactions such as jeepney fares, candies, newspapers, and other essentials. The year 1972 was also significant because it was the same year Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in the Philippines. Coins like the 10 centimo became silent witnesses to a turbulent chapter in Philippine history, circulating in the hands of ordinary citizens during an era of political control and economic challenges. Placing Balagtas on the coin was no accident. Marcos wanted to promote Filipino nationalism, and Balagtas represented the voice of the Filipino people, their struggles, and their dreams for freedom. In a way, the coin was not just currency but also a political and cultural message. The coin was small, light, and often overlooked, yet it was part of everyday Filipino life. For children, it meant a chance to buy sweets or toys. For workers, it was part of their fare or small savings. For collectors, it was an artifact, carrying symbols of an evolving nation. The design of the coin was created under the supervision of the Central Bank's Currency Management Committee, with input from Filipino historians and artists. Their aim was to balance practicality with cultural symbolism, ensuring the coin would resonate with the people. In terms of dimensions, the 1972 10 centimo coin was 17 millimeters in diameter and very lightweight. Its modest size reflected its low purchasing. Coins like the 10 centimo also served an educational purpose. By featuring historical figures like Balagtas, they introduced young Filipinos to national heroes and icons, making the currency not just a medium of exchange but a tool for learning. Interestingly, the 1972 10 centimo was part of a wider reorganization of Philippine coinage. The central bank gradually replaced older designs with new ones that better reflected the Bagong Lipunan ideology, where economic reform and nationalism were central themes. The coin circulated widely throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Though its value was small, it remained an essential part of everyday commerce, especially in local markets where every centavo counted. From a collector's perspective, the 10 centimo 1972 is highly symbolic. While not rare in circulation, well-preserved specimens in uncirculated condition are sought after by numismatists, particularly those specializing in Philippine coinage during the martial law period. The coin also highlights the influence of Spanish heritage on Philippine culture. Balagtas wrote in Tagalog during the Spanish colonial period, showing the resilience of Filipino identity despite centuries of foreign rule. His presence on the coin was a nod to cultural pride. During the early 1970s, inflation was slowly rising and the value of smaller coins like the 10 centimo began to diminish. Still, these coins were indispensable for daily trade and continued to be minted in large quantities. Some numismatists note that the 1972 10 centimo represents a transitional coin. bridging the gap between the old pre-decimal coinage designs and the modern. Philippine Peso 1690 belongs to the Flora and Fauna series, which was officially introduced in 1983 by the Bangko Sentral NGC Pilipinas, BSP. This series marked a significant shift in Philippine coinage design, moving away from the old Filipino series of the 1970s and early 1980s and ushering in a new look that combined Philippine national heroes with elements of the country's rich natural heritage. The obverse of the 1991 Piso features the portrait of José Rizal, the country's national hero whose writings and martyrdom played a crucial role in sparking the Philippine Revolution against Spain. Rizal had been a central figure in Philippine coinage since the first Republic-era coins, but in the Flora and Fauna series, his portrait was modernized, showing a refined engraving that symbolized the updated style of the late 20th century. Around Rizal's portrait is the inscription, Republica NG Pilipinas, along with the year of minting, 1990. This placement emphasizes national identity and pride while keeping the focus on Rizal's enduring legacy. On the reverse side of the coin, the Philippine Tamaraw Bubulus mindorensis is depicted. The tamaraw is a critically endangered dwarf buffalo species endemic to Mindoro Island. The decision to feature this animal was deeply symbolic. At the time, the Philippines was highlighting its biodiversity and raising awareness about conservation, and the tamaraw stood as a powerful representation of the country's unique and threatened wildlife. Along with the animal, the reverse carries the denomination 1 Piso in bold lettering, making the coin easily recognizable. The coin was struck in copper nickel, a durable alloy widely used in circulation coins of that era, with a diameter of 28 millimeters and a weight of around 8.7 grams. The 1990 issue was quite large compared to the smaller coins of today. Its size and metallic composition gave it a solid, substantial feel in the hand, a characteristic many Filipinos still recall nostalgically. Economically, the 1990 Piso had significant purchasing power compared to the present day. In 1991, Piso could buy items like jeepney fares, small snacks, or basic household goods. It was a coin heavily used in everyday life, circulating widely in markets, schools, and public transportation. Historically, 1990 was also a notable year for the Philippines. The country was under the presidency of Corazon C. Aquino, who had come into power after the 1986 People Power Revolution. The economy was in recovery, and inflation was a concern. But coins like the 1 Piso remained vital in daily transactions. The BSP was in the process of modernizing its currency system, and coins, like the 1990 Piso, reflected both national pride and practical use. Collectors today see the 19901 Piso as a... Welcome back to my channel, The Coins World. Today we are diving into the story of the Philippine 10 centimo coin issued in 2013. At first glance, this small denomination might seem insignificant, just another coin passed quickly from one hand to another in the daily bustle of markets and jeepney fares. But as we peel back the layers of its history, design, and symbolism, we uncover that the 2013 10 centimo is more than just loose change. It is a miniature time capsule carrying the identity, resilience, and culture of the Philippines. The 201310 centimo coin belongs to the new Generation Currency coin series, a set of coins released by the Bangko Sentral NGC Pilipinas BSP to modernize Philippine currency. This series introduced coins with a unified and simplified design, making them easier to distinguish, while also aligning them with the new generation of paper bills. The introduction of the 10 centimo in 2013 was part of this national project to standardize, secure, and beautify Philippine money. On its obverse, the 10 centimo proudly displays the stylized Philippine coat of arms, a timeless national emblem representing freedom, democracy, and sovereignty. Even though it is just a minor denomination, the presence of the coat of arms reminds citizens that every peso, every centavo, represents a collective contribution to the economy and national pride. The reverse of the coin features the iconic wailing, a rare and beautiful orchid known as the Queen of Philippine Flowers. This design choice by the BSP was not random. It was meant to celebrate the country's rich biodiversity. The Philippines is a global hotspot for unique flora and fauna, and the 10 centimo serves as a daily reminder of the nation's natural treasures. Measuring 15.5 millimeters in diameter and made of nickel-plated steel, the 2013 10 centimo is among the smallest coins in circulation. Its lightweight and silvery shine distinguish it from older bronze-colored centavos, reflecting a modernized look suitable for the new generation. The material choice was not just aesthetic but also practical, as nickel-plated steel is durable and cost-efficient for mass production. One fascinating aspect of the 2013 10 centimo is how it represents the gradual decline in the purchasing power of smaller denominations. Back in earlier decades, the 10 centimo had much greater value and could buy small items. By 2013, however, its economic utility was mostly symbolic, yet the BSP decided to keep it in circulation, recognizing its role in maintaining proper accounting and pricing, ensuring fairness in transactions down to the last cent. For coin collectors, the 2013 10 centimo holds a special place because it is one of the first modern designs in the new generation series. Unlike older centavo coins that carried faces of historical heroes like Francisco Baltasar or Melchora Aquino, the 2013 series shifted to highlighting nature, plants, and symbols of identity. This marked a turning point in Philippine numismatic history, sparking debates among collectors about whether removing portraits diminished the coin's cultural weight or offered a fresh, progressive identity. The issuance year of 2013 also coincided with an era of rapid technological changes in the Philippines. E-commerce, digital banking, and mobile wallets were beginning to rise. And yet here was a small coin still clinking in the pockets of jeepney drivers, sari-sari store vendors, and schoolchildren. In a way, the 10 centimo of 2013 reflects a crossroads between tradition and modernity, between physical cash and the beginning of cashless systems. Collectors often note that while the 10 centimo is not rare, pristine uncirculated pieces from 2013 are worth keeping. Over time, coins like these can become scarce, as they are gradually phased out of circulation or simply lost in drawers and jars. Numismatists appreciate that such minor denominations tell stories, often overlooked stories that reveal how ordinary Filipinos engaged with their currency daily. The wailing flower featured on this coin carries its own deep history. Indigenous tribes in Mindanao long revered the flower for its beauty and spiritual significance. By placing it on the 10 centimo, the BSP was not only celebrating biodiversity but also honoring indigenous heritage. Every time someone looks at the coin closely, they hold in their hand a bridge between native culture and modern statehood. Historically, the 10 centimo has undergone multiple transformations, from copper-nickel compositions to aluminum, then to brass, and now to nickel-plated steel. It mirrors the Philippines' economic journey and changing global metal supply. Each redesign reflects practical adjustments to inflation, metal costs, and minting technology, making the 2013 version part of a long evolutionary chain. While the coin's value may seem negligible, its symbolism runs deep. Imagine children in 2013 receiving a few centavos for school snacks, jeepney drivers handing back exact change, or vendors in the palanque carefully counting out every last coin. These everyday exchanges demonstrate that even the smallest denominations support the rhythm of the economy. In circulation, the 201310 centimo also became a teaching tool for young Filipinos. Learning to recognize and count coins starts with centavos. The small coin therefore carried an educational role, helping children understand numbers, value, and discipline in handling money. From a global perspective, many countries have phased out their smallest denominations, arguing they are no longer practical. Yet the Philippines kept the 10 centimo alive, reflecting a cultural tendency to value exactness and fairness in trade. This also shows a uniquely Filipino respect for every coin, no matter how small. Interestingly, the coin's release also tied into national pride. At the time, the Philippines was experiencing economic